In this video, you're gonna learn how to write a mission statement without the endless discussions and the frustration and the time it can take when you undertake this kind of exercise. Now, I have an approach that's a little bit different from others, but it kind of gets to the heart of what you want, and there's even some counterintuitive ideas there. I work with 85 plus organizations, helping them with strategy and their strategic decisions. And of course, the mission is always something that plays a role whenever you're formulating strategy or you're thinking about it. But I've seen this kind of work and changes to the mission statement really go horribly. So I want to show you how to avoid and stick around to explore why word choice actually doesn't matter as much as you think. All right, let's jump in. So here's a nightmare you want to avoid, right? Months of deliberation, hours spent on a single word, right? Should it be excitement or should it be energetic? Should it be eager or should it be something else? This is what can happen with mission statements, right? There's frustration. You're looking at 5-10 words over and over again until you start to almost like have some kind of hallucination of the words, right? This I have seen happen multiple times with mission statement work, right? It becomes this huge, lengthy process. I even seen, of course, consulting companies and people get brought in to lead this effort of 6 to 9 months, 12 months, just come up with one sentence that seems to capture everything about the organization. I think this is not the right way to do it. It's a huge waste of time. It's not where organizations should be spending such significant resources, and there's better ways of doing it. So let me give you my approach. So I call this the Roman approach. The Roman Empire was a representative democracy, like many of the Western democracies today, right? United States, Canada, where I'm in, United Kingdom. This is a democracy where people elect representatives, and then the representatives make the decisions for everyone else, right? So you have 40 million people here in Canada. We elect representatives, of course, with different levels of government, and they make decisions for us. It's not a direct democracy where every single person would vote. In a direct democracy, every person of those 40 million here in Canada would have a vote on every single issue. Should you raise the budget? Should you go to war, right? That's not what we do. So the Roman Empire was one of the first governments to do this, and it's really the one in which many democracies have built their model on. Now, this history lesson is relevant because I call this the Roman approach. So here's what we can do, right? And as you can imagine, based on my quick history lesson, we're gonna do something with representative candidates, right? So we wanna start the process by soliciting feedback from everyone, right? You can do this through a survey or group discussions, town halls. There's multiple ways. And you wanna select a few questions. Here's 3 I like, but feel free to add or remove as needed. There is, why do customers love us? Why do you love working for our organization? And what is the future of our organization? You can see they're pretty open. There's a lot of different ways to interpret it, and that's completely fine, right? So we go through this feedback process. Now, I like to time box things. I'm not gonna make this a 7-month data collection process. To me, 4 weeks is enough here. You put it out there, everyone who wants to submit it gets to submit it. If people don't want to submit it, that's completely fine. I'm not here to force anyone. We're not here to force people to provide the feedback. You just give the option of providing feedback. So they answer the questions or whatever question you choose. Now you have all this data, right? You have all these answers, survey responses, maybe a video recording, and of course a transcript that goes with that. Now we want to select our representatives. We want to assign 1, maybe 2 individuals within your company who may have a strength for writing and editing. That may be one of the reasons why they get selected, or they just may be simply the kind of individuals who are going to be able to take all that feedback and sort through it to find the highlights, right? So those 1 or 2 individuals, they'll take everything, all the answers, they'll then summarize it and then generate a statement from it. So generate the mission statement from it. They'll play around with maybe 1 sentence, 2 sentences, maybe they'll have something longer, whatever it is. But it's only 1 or 2 individuals working on it. So they're working on it together. This is a reasonable way to work. Within those 2 individuals, they can sort of work through disagreements about word choices, which I'm sure will happen. But it's much easier to do that with 2 individuals than 10 or 15 or, God forbid, 50 people. So they'll do it, and then they'll finalize a mission statement. Now, key here, you're not gonna offer that mission statement back for feedback, right? This is not some kind of iterative process where those individuals write the mission statement and now it goes back to all your staff. No, you're done. Once those two individuals write the mission statement, that's it. You took feedback, you had people go through it, they took it into consideration, and here's the mission statement that these two individuals believe, sense the views, or where the organization should be going. Then you can move on to actually working on business issues, right? There's so many other things organizations should be working on besides the mission statement around funding and staff and leadership and whatever else, right? So that's it, you move on. Now, there is one more thing we'll do with it, but we'll look at that in the pitfalls in the next section. Now, before we move on to pitfalls, I want to do a quick break here, let you know that if you're looking for help on how to create a mission statement in a way that's rapid, following the approach I am outlining in this video, get in touch, right? I can walk you through the process, show you how it can be adapted to your organization, and how to make sure you don't waste time going through the very lengthy, ineffective process, right? So there's a link in the description for how to get in touch. Let me know. Now, last thing, word choice doesn't really matter, right? This also relates to pitfalls, as I mentioned before. Now, let me ask you a question. What is a better word? Sustainable or supportable? How about ambitious or determined? I don't know, right? I don't know what's a better word, but everyone has a choice. Everyone has an opinion on words. Some people hear sustainable and they think, you know what? I'm not really down with this whole climate change thing going on, so I don't like this word, right? Or some people might hear sustainable and they're like, I love this word. This is my word. This is my this is my sort of spirit word, right? So everyone has an opinion. So you're never gonna be able to reconcile so many different opinions. So if you put word choices in front of 10, 15, 20 people, it's gonna be really hard to get some agreement. That's why we had, one or two individuals do it and then move on. Now, what we want to do with a mission statement is not go through endless feedback loops, right? We're done with it, the 1 sentence, 2 sentences. Instead, we now want to take the mission statement, give it to people, and say, this is your starting point. But we want you to tell the mission of the company in your words, in your own words. And I do this exercise in strategic sessions, where we have a mission statement, and then I ask someone in the staff, you know what, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Now tell me what the mission of the organization is in your own words, right? You can use the words in this mission statement, that's fine, but just explain it. Just talk for 2 minutes. And then they talk, right? And they use their own words and they explore different things. And that's the way to do it, right? So you don't obsess with word choice. You let people choose their own words when they tell the story of the mission, but it doesn't have to be done in the mission statement itself. So that's the way we can move away from word choice. We can move towards having a mission statement done rapidly and still give people the choice to really explain things in their own words, which I think is actually much more effective than just giving them some kind of chant or slogan to repeat. And that's it. That's all I have for today. My name is Ruben Garte. I'm an expert in strategic decisions. And today we talked about mission statements. Now, a few things before you leave. First, a reminder for the offer I mentioned halfway through the video. If you want help on how to craft a mission statement and do it rapidly, and do it without getting caught up, get in touch. There's a link in the description box below. Number 2, I have a newsletter on Substack called The Growth Needle. I cover similar ideas. I look at how other companies are making strategic decisions, IKEA, Nike, and plenty of others. So check that out, it's free. It goes out every Tuesday. It's really fantastic. And just like before, there's a link in the description box below. And lastly, let me know in the comments what idea stood out to you, right? What kind of idea maybe change your approach, change your thinking, and now you will go and implement if you're about to embark on this sort of mission statement work. Let me know in the comments. Until next time, talk soon.